Welcome to Winds of Whimsy, where the past is honored and the future is handmade. I honor the worn, the weathered, the wonderfully imperfect. And whispers of yesterday are woven into today, one whimsy at a time. Today we're continuing our series of flags with a whimsical design. This one has a nod to tradition using florals in the patriotic colors. I used iron orchids, floral and vine stamp that just came out in the new collection. I used the iron orchid inks in china blue, stone gray, and tomato. I love Debbie's DIY paints. They are clay-based paints. I use that in white Swan for the background. It is all sealed in with liquid patina and aged with Debbie's Dark and Decrepit. I found the wood blank in the Hobby Lobby clearance aisle. So don't stop looking for those materials before you get to the clearance aisle, because you can create something beautiful out of those forgotten pieces. I hope you enjoy this project. To begin, I placed a base of white Swan on the wood blank. This will give our florals a clean background to bloom on. Step 2 is playing with the stamps on a piece of practice paper. I like to lay out my design and practice before I put it on my final surface. Here you will see I'm using the grid. It's called a thin mount from IOD, and this is a great tool, and I'm using it to help me measure and get some lines on this background with a pencil so that I can make my stripes even and know where to place those when I begin putting the ink on this surface. So this grid was hugely helpful in this process. The stamping grid will also provide a structure for my stamps and help me to keep balance and the lines straight as I go. You'll see me using that as we begin the stamping process. I begin using IOD China Blue ink. That's going to create our field of stars using a floral stamp from the Floral and Vine stamp. I use these, I have 2 flowers, and I alternate the directions as I place them in the star field of this flag. They look like wildflowers blooming in a field. You'll also see me using a baby wipe. After I apply the ink, it's a good idea to check your grid and make sure you don't have any extra ink outside your stamped area, and that will help you to keep your surface clean as you're stamping. So I just work my way down here. I think I make about 5 rows of these flowers. Continuing to alternate them, clean up the grid, and once I got a rhythm, it went fairly quickly. As I get towards the end of this section, I added a subtle border using a different stamp. I didn't catch that process on the video, but you will be able to clearly see that in the final piece as we work on this project. It just helped to complete that area before beginning the red stripes. Now we're ready to create the red stripes. Here I'm showing you how I placed that on the grid. This helped me to measure out from the edge and place those stripes evenly on the pencil marks that also are there to help guide these images. I used IOD, I believe it's called Tomato. It's a very nice red shade. And I started using that hand applicator, but I decided to use a brayer. This was a larger stamp, and the brayer made it go much quicker. Again, I'm cleaning up that grid to make sure I don't get any extra red ink where I don't want it. And I love how that turned out. And these actually, again, once I got in a rhythm, went on fairly quickly. Doing that practice ahead of time helped, so I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And that prep of knowing where this pattern needed to go was a big help. Okay, I'm down to my last row in these stripes. I didn't have quite enough room going the same direction to use the stamp in the same direction, so I got out a mask and I flipped the stamp around, and it worked out perfectly because it gave me a nice final edge, and it overlapped just slightly, but those vines lined up perfectly, and it just turned out perfect. So I got a little bit lucky there, I think, because maybe my math was just slightly off, but yeah, I like the way it turned out. Okay, here's what we have so far. You can see that blue stamp that I used to separate the red stripes from the blue starred area at the top. It's coming together nicely. Once that ink was fully dry, I am lightly applying a coat of liquid patina to help seal that in. You want to make sure that ink's good and dry so it does not get smeared. Now I am mixing a little Debbie's DIY Dark and Decrepit into some liquid patina. This, along with the crackle stamp and some stone gray ink, will provide a time-worn crackle and age to this piece. I used the crackle stamp randomly and gently to give this flag a weathered soul. Liquid patina around the edges of the frame. The frame was stained with Dark and Decrepit, just the straight solution. It provides a lovely dark, rich brown color, and a sealer is built in with that. And here is the finished piece. What do you think? I really love how it turned out. I love this summer take on a patriotic flag. The second in my challenge to use different products to create a flag for summer. It's been a fun challenge. Maybe I will try decoupage next. I'm not sure what my next medium will be. Or I've seen a lot of people doing the trimmings mold flags. That would be fun too. They have been really beautiful. Thank you for joining me in this journey of creativity. Until next time, may your hands stay inspired and your heart full of whimsy.